Hello and welcome to another session of Let's Learn German. Till now, we have done several aspects of the German language, including verbs. And in the previous sessions, we dealt with regular verbs and the pattern of conjugation with pronouns and nouns. As I said in the previous session, German verbs are categorized into regular verbs and irregular verbs. We have done some common regular verbs and their conjugations with nouns and pronouns. Moving on, we would now concentrate on irregular verbs and their conjugations with nouns as well as pronouns. Here, I would like to tell you that within the conjugation of irregular verbs in the German language, there are several subcategories. Today, we would deal with the first subcategory of the irregular verb conjugation. Please concentrate on this conjugation because this not necessarily follow the same pattern as the regular verbs, and there are certain exceptions and certain deviations for this structure. Today we are going to do verb conjugations of irregular verbs, where in the verb the vowel E, or as it called the A, is changed and replaced by the vowel I or E as in German. Now let us look at the verbs which carry out or which have this transformation in them. As I have told you earlier, that all the verbs in German language before conjugation are called infinitive verbs, and they are marked by the ending an, and so forth. Here we have certain new verbs which are very common in German language. They are geben, nehmen, sprechen, essen, helfen, Treffen. Please repeat after me. Geben, nehmen, sprechen, essen, helfen, treffen. As you can see, these verbs have also different meanings. Geben means to give, nehmen means to take, sprechen means to speak, essen means to eat, helfen means to help, and treffen means to meet. Well, looking at the structure of these verbs, you can see that I have circled or highlighted the letter A or E in these verbs, and as you can see, letter E, which is the vowel, is between two consonants. For example, the letter A is between the consonants G and B, which is ge and be. In the other verb nehmen, A or E is again between two consonants N and H, or as in German we call them N und H. Moving on, in the verb sprechen, we have the letter A or E between R and C. And what do we call R and C? R is R and C is C. Now, moving on to the verb essen, which means to eat, as you can see, the verb starts with the letter A or E and then is followed by an S or the letter S. The next verb in our list is helfen, which means to help, and here the letter A is situated between H and L or H and L. And the last verb in this category is treffen, which means to meet, and here the letter A is situated between R and F, which we call in German as R and F. Now, as I told you, the verbs in this category undergo a transformation or a change where the E or A is replaced by I or E. Remember that in German the letter E of English is called A and the letter I of English is called E. So, do not get confused. Now, look at the conjugation for each verb. As you know, all the pronouns or nouns follow certain rules of conjugation. So, we have ich gebe, du gibst, sie es gibt, sie geben, wir geben, ihr gebt, sie geben, sie geben. However, as you can see, for the pronouns du, which is the second person singular, and for the pronouns sie, es and which are third person singular, the letter A or E between G and B is replaced by the letter I. So, here the vowel E or A is changed by the vowel I, and this pattern of conjugation where the verb undergoes a transformation in its middle part and not only at the end is a very unique feature of irregular verbs. So, the same pattern is followed for other verbs. Now, let us look at the conjugation of the other verbs. Ich nehme, du nimmst, sie es nimmt, sie nehmen. Wir nehmen, ihr nehmt, sie nehmen, sie nehmen. If you look closely for the verb at the verbs geben and nehmen, you would see that except du, sie, es, they follow the same pattern as regular verbs. Ich takes the letter A or E when it is conjugated with a verb, and as you know, pronouns sie, wir, sie take an, and the pronoun ihr takes the letter te or t. Now, moving on to the third verb on this list, sprechen, the same pattern follows. Ich spreche, du sprichst, sie es spricht, sie sprechen, wir sprechen, ihr sprecht, sie sprechen, sie sprechen. As I told you, here also in the second person du informal and sie es third person, the change of vowel takes place where the vowel E is replaced by the vowel I. As always, du and sie es also change the structure of the verb where they change the ending. As I have told you earlier, with du the verb is conjugated as st, and with sie es verb is conjugated at the end with t or te. Now, moving to another verb, essen. Ich esse, du isst, du sie es isst, sie essen, wir essen, ihr esst, sie essen, sie essen. Now, look at these conjugations of du and sie es. They appear similar, right? They appear similar because the letter E or A, which is at the beginning of the verb, is replaced here with the letter I or E, and as you know, du the verb is conjugated with st, and since the verb essen always carries the s in it, so we add just a t or te here, and for the third person we also add just a t or te. So, remember that the conjugation of the verb essen in second person as well as in third person singular is same. Moving on to the other verb helfen, which means to help. We have ich helfe, du hilfst, sie es hilft, sie helfen, wir helfen, ihr helft, sie helfen, sie helfen. Helfen, like the other verbs of geben, nehmen and sprechen, has the same pattern where the letter E or A is replaced by letter I in second person as well as in third person. And moving on to the last verb of this category, treffen, which means to meet, we have ich treffe, du triffst, sie es trifft, sie treffen, wir treffen, ihr trefft, sie treffen, sie treffen. The same rule applies where the letter E or A is replaced by the letter E in second person as well as in third person. I would like to tell you that for irregular verbs, this feature is only applicable for second person as well as for third person. Mostly in all the cases, the verbs are otherwise conjugated by changing the ending of the verb, as you can see. Now, we would do some exercises to understand the conjugation of these verbs in a better manner. Now, since we have learnt the verb conjugations of irregular verbs, let's do some exercises. For the exercises, we have our student here. After he finishes the exercises, let's see if his answers are right or wrong. Now, let us look at the answers. Wir essen gern biryani. You know that with the personal pronoun wir, the conjugation is an. So, this conjugation or the answer given by the student is right. Ich gebe Ram ein Buch. The personal pronoun ich, when attached with a verb, is conjugated with the ending a or e. So, this answer is also correct. Hilft dem Studenten. The third person pronoun singular, when conjugated with the irregular verb helfen, takes the form where apart from the te or t which is at the end, also the vowel e is replaced by vowel I. So, this answer is also correct. Ali trifft den Professor. Ali or the third person singular, when conjugated with the verb treffen, just like in the previous example, the verb undergoes a change also at the end, where it takes the letter T or te, and also it is the vowel E is replaced by I. So, this answer is also correct. Spricht Hindi und Telugu. Like in the previous sentences, the third person singular pronoun when conjugated with the irregular verb sprechen is conjugated as spricht, where apart from the usual ending T, the vowel E is replaced by vowel I. So, this answer is also correct. Nehmt ihr das Haus? Here we have the pronoun ihr when attached with the verb nehmen. The conjugation does not make any difference for the vowel. So, the vowel E or A is retained, and the change takes place only at the root, where the conjugation happens by adding the letter te or T instead of an. Now, in this last sentence, gibt Geld und nimmt ein Buch. As you can see, the infinitive verb is geben when it is conjugated with the possessive pronoun undergoes a transformation, where apart from the T or te at the end, the vowel E is replaced by vowel I, and the answer which is given by the student therefore is correct. And moving on to the verb nimmt ein Buch, here the verb is nehmen and the conjugated form is nimmt, and the verb nimmt here is conjugated along with the possessive pronoun And now, if you look at the conjugation, the complete structure of the verb undergoes a change, where instead of one M, two M's come apart from the ending T or te, and the vowel is replaced by I. I hope with this exercise you were able to understand how the irregular verbs are conjugated and what are the changes which should be done to make a correct conjugation of any irregular verb in German language. Now, we would see some other irregular verbs which follow again some slightly different pattern when it comes to conjugation. Now, moving on to the other category of the irregular verbs, where again there is a change in the vowel. In this category, the vowel E or A is replaced by not by one vowel, instead by two vowels, that is the vowel I, E, German, called E and A. And this change of vowel happens in many verbs. For our session, we are going to concentrate on two irregular verbs which are very common, and they are sehen and lesen. Sehen means to see, lesen means to read. Now, look at the change in the conjugation of these two verbs. When you look at the conjugation starting with ich, it follows the similar pattern. Ich sehe, ich lese. However, as you can see, the infinitive verbs sehen and lesen are conjugated in the pattern similar to ich with e, or a as endung. However, when it comes to the second person and third person conjugation, the vowel e or a is replaced by vowel ie or ea. So, du siehst, du liest. Sie es sieht, sie es liest. Now, moving on to the other conjugations, they follow the usual pattern. Sie sehen, sie lesen. Wir sehen, wir lesen. ihr seht, ihr lest. Sie sehen, sie lesen. Sie sehen, sie lesen. As I told you, for irregular verb, the conjugation, the change happens in mostly all the verbs at the end. However, for the pronouns do, which is the second person singular pronoun, and for ses, which is a third person singular pronoun, the change occurs not only at the end here, but also in the middle of the verb. So, these two verbs follow that pattern where the change happens also in the middle. Now, let us do some exercises based on these verbs, and after doing the exercises, you can understand how the conjugation for the verbs sehen and lesen are carried out. Now, let us do some exercises and learn the conjugation of the verbs sehen and lesen. For that, we have our student who would write the answers, and we would see if the answers given by the student are right or wrong. Now that our student has done the work, let's see the answers given by the student. Sieht gern Cartoonfilme. Here the conjugation of the verb is sehen, and with the third person singular it is conjugated as sieht. So, the change is taking place not only at the end with the addition of te or t, but also the vowel e, which is in the infinitive, is replaced by two vowels, and these are I and E, or in German E and A. The answer is right. Wir lesen gern Harry Potter. Now, this is an easy conjugation because, as I told you, with the pronoun wir, the conjugation is always en or an, and since here we have the en correctly conjugated, the answer is also right. Siehst du gern Actionfilme? Now, if you look at this sentence, here we have the pronoun du, which is the second person singular, conjugated to the verb sehen, and the verb sehen along with the person pronoun du undergoes a transformation at the end, as you can see, where it takes the ending st or st, and also the vowel e is replaced by two vowels e and a or I and e. Therefore, the answer given here is also correct. Lest ihr gern Comics? Here we have the pronoun ihr, and it is conjugated with the verb lesen, and there is not much difference. There is no major transformation, only that the verb is conjugated at the end with the letter T or te. Ram liest eine Zeitung. Here we have the verb lesen, which undergoes the transformation not only at the end by the addition of t or te, but also in the middle, where the letter e or a is replaced by two vowels e and a. The answer given therefore is correct. So, as you can see, if you continue to revise and do exercises like this, you would be able to understand the conjugation of the verb sehen as well as the verb lesen, and also similar verbs which are conjugated in the same manner in a quick way. I hope you could understand the irregular verbs which we did today and also their conjugations. Please revise the irregular verbs which we did today and the conjugations on a regular basis. And as I always say, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss.